I don't think I had any idea that this was going to turn into what it turned into when I first thought about doing this project. It was really just a way to not stop making art and music. It's our lifeboat. It's not our force or anything. It sustains us and keeps us alive, and this whole project has changed me. As you know, anybody who lives through 2 years, things change them, but I think it was really like a 2-year project that was only supposed to take, a few weekends. And so here we are.
R.mason is just passionate about what they do. They appreciate the value of art. They appreciate the value of community. They're so talented. It's just been amazing.
I'm Rebecca, and I am the singer and songwriter for r.mason. I was so grateful and moved by the team of people who helped with Rain's Too Loud for TV. The people in the local art scene, in the venues, in the studios that we all leaned on over the pandemic. I wanted to dive deeper into their stories and what they do. Being a musician can feel like a selfish way of being. Until I'm ready to share my work, the rest of the world and many of my friends and family can get pushed away. They may influence my music, but they aren't part of the creation, so the guilt gets to me, and I'm always in awe of how much I sacrifice to make things. I wanted to ask these other fellow artists to explore their why. And this has all further helped me understand why we all do this, why we make art and music and photography, writing, the drawing. I've learned that it is okay to pour your blood, sweat, and tears into the art of creation. I've learned that I keep breaking, and music keeps healing me. Emily Mary Laing. She is one of my best friends, and she has told me before how inspired she is by people's stories and how much she loves bringing the intimate parts of people's minds to the surface. She believes the world needs to see the honesty of the broken places we go in order to keep moving forward. Emily is one of the most generous conversationalists I have met. She genuinely wants to listen.
No, who am I? I'm somebody who, has a creative need, I guess, along with other things and responsibilities in life. But I always find music is something that's an outlet for me that I feel like I have to embrace and is an important part of my life. It's not just something I do as a hobby, but it's like a necessity.
It just kind of changed a bit, and I think just like the thing that I kept asking myself, I don't know if other people were, but I certainly was asking myself, like, why am I doing this? God, it's like so much money and it's so much time, and I love it. I knew I loved it. I knew I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. But like, it feels selfish.
Rebecca has an amazing way of surrounding herself with people that are like-minded and they have an awesome vibe, and it seemed like we're all there to make it the best experience we can be and make the debut of r.mason as genuine as possible, and I think we did that.
I met Cole through Circus Records in the middle of the Rain's Too Loud for TV project, and we are buds. I mean, I think we are. I think she feels the same way about me as I do about her. When trying to understand the human condition, one needs good friends to help enlighten your understanding, and Cole has been one of these people to me.
I own the company Brothers C Productions, where we make music videos and do some documentary stuff and basically like work with film production. and then and more recently photography as well. And then I also run a podcast, also with Colin Rivera, recently started with me, Stories Less Spoken. And then I'm also in a band, Tea with Mara, which also just started. But the thing that ties all of those things together is actually just storytelling, really.
I like to write stuff like poetry and like radio dramas for fun, like lately. And just things like that.
Something about that, these radio dramas.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of like the old 40s style radio dramas. So I've teamed up with this wonderful crew, Brother C Productions, and we've been making Stories Less Spoken podcast. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we create, like, we get people to tell real stories, and then we have radio dramas that we make up and write.
Hello, I'm Brittany. I'm Rebecca's sister. Most beloved sister, I should say.
Yes.
We were brought up around a lot of music. Both of our parents played the piano, and we had, at one point, we had a piano and an organ in the house. So my mom would play the organ and my dad would play the piano, and they'd play duets together. And so we grew up hearing a lot of that, and also being forced to sing as a family. There's 7 of us, which is, always a delight. It was an interesting childhood.
Just so much work and effort that goes into this, people who aren't so, ingrained in the arts and music scene, they just kind of consuming the work after the fact. I wouldn't say they don't appreciate, but they might not even understand how much goes into that song. This momentum was really picking up, and at that point it was a small community, but I felt this sense of community starting to grow through this. And one thing led to another. Honestly, it just went from like 3 to 5 to 8, and now there's like 33 artists or something like that.
It's incredible.
First generation Finnish. My parents immigrated from Finland. The word circus, S-U-R-K-U-S, actually means misery in Finnish.
Okay, you're right.
But I saw this word and I was like, circus and misery, there's so much duality there. Because when you say the word circus in English, it just implies this kind of like crazy, zany sort of group of misfits kind of thing, But like, in Finnish, it actually means like melancholy, downtrodden, like sorrow.
Sleepless nights, and it's not just like the hard work, but it's also like the emotional labor that's involved too. Like
exactly, and like for some people, I can't say all, but like borderline obsession, you have to do it, and you have to do it the way it feels right for you.
Do you think you kind of have to be almost obsessed in order to be successful? Like that's part of it?
I think the most successful people are obsessed. I don't think you have to be. I think you can do, like, I can only speak for myself. You do it for your own personal reasons. Somebody who's just painting as a hobby, there's no less value in what they do than somebody who's, up all night for 3 days drinking whiskey and like slashing lines across a page or whatever.
Yeah. I was into a whole bunch of different kind of stuff right off the top. Like I wanted to, obviously I wanted to shoot models, and I wanted to shoot HDR, and I wanted to do portraits and street photography. But it was this gradual sort of whittling down and trying things. And then I happened on a guy named Michael Levin, who's actually from Vancouver. And he's an incredible fine art, long exposure photographer. And his images had such a piece to them. They were very minimalistic, like almost to the point of being jarring, but they were so relaxing to look at, and they were so simple, and they were black and white. And I don't know if you know long exposure photography, but it stops everything. Mm-hmm. And that really appealed to me because it was kind of this sort of polar opposite of what I was doing during the day, which was running, or at night, running around bartending, and you were always active, and you always had to be engaged. But I realized there was such a therapeutic aspect of it in just sitting down, and the first thing that I would do is I would put my camera away, and you just sit down and close your eyes and just listen and smell everything and just really get a feel for what was going on. And it allowed you to create something in your mind.
Others find that music saves them and they need it.
Are you scared of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because...
Or how?
Sure, I mean, we all have our
save
demons
you?
and things that we all have weaknesses and whatnot. I mean, for myself, I find music is just a necessity for grounding myself. you know,
I hear you.
That's
I
it for
hear
me.
you.
Like, music is not just a light thing. It's incredibly serious for me, and joyful, and beautiful. But it's an incredible honor to have these hands that can make the guitar do what it does, and it's to me, it's a responsibility to play with artists who I think believe in that too.
Yeah.
The same value.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know. I'm a bunch of things. It depends on which facet of life you're talking about. As it pertains to music, I'm a musician, I'm a producer, and if it pertains to other things, I'm a dad, and I'm a partner, and so on and so forth. I think I play music, and I'm involved in music because this is where it led me. It was not to be overly emotional about it, but music saved my life when I was a kid. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to sit in a room and escape from everything and just play music.
And there's a sort of childish element to it too. Like, I'm back to being like 15, where I'm sneaking into my brother's room to play a Stratocaster, right?
I mean, I remember as a 5-year-old child dreaming of Heartache, literally dreaming about it in our massive 10-person van full of like all the children and probably extras, because my dad always wanted extra people in our van to bring to church. And I'd be like scratching at the window as the rain fell. Did you have to leave me? Just like crying over something I've never even been through.
If you're talking about myself, I think the hardest thing about music is probably the lack of satisfaction. It's a never-ending video game that you're going to play forever.
What an excellent opportunity. I mean,
You guys
to
had
have
quite a few shows in the summertime.
quite a few, yeah, all through COVID, right? I mean, we had one of the few venues that actually like kept it going, kept the ball rolling, kept artists engaged, kept the public engaged. You know, like, hello, yeah, we're still wanting to do this, and people wanted to. A lot of places were closing down, but they kept it going and made us all feel like, yeah, it's worth hanging in there.
LJ has got, if you haven't been up there, I mean, that guy is just like keeping music alive. I felt like he really kept Jono and I
Longevity
performing.
John.
Yeah,
Yes.
Longevity John performing. Like we'd go up there just to try stuff out, you know, like be like, oh, at least we're on a stage, even though it was being streamed and like hardly anybody was in the audience. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a whole world of wonder. I mean,
See that coin on there?
Yes.
Pick up the coin.
Whoa.
Now
That's
put
too
your fingers
much.
back there again.
Whoa.
Okay.
And the thing is,
It's magic.
if you go like this,
Yeah.
the coin's in there. You can see the coin.
Yeah, it's like
You can see the
you're
finger.
touching the coin.
But the coin's not there.
Wow.
That little paddle in the canoe, right?
Yeah.
And if you look on the front here, it's got the rifle or the axe and all this stuff, the saw,
Oh yeah.
snowshoes and all this.
Yeah.
And then over on the other side, there's a sleigh. But if you go inside, take a look inside.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's like a whole house.
yeah, he's got collections upon collections. He's got the electric chair. I mean, he's got
That
an
whole
old
place.
dentist chair.
Yes.
He's got,
Complete character.
yeah.
Yes.
The mental health thing is just so ingrained into the foundation and our vision even moving forward. You know, we want to just make sure that artists have the support that they need. We're working with the Mental Health Society of Greater Victoria on like workshops for artists right now. I just think it's always going to remain part of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it's very important. Like, if we don't use music to get through those times, what's the point of it? And so I encourage it.
Absolutely.
You panic.
And let's talk about it.
And let's talk about it.
Why are we gonna, stifle it or, like push it to the side? That's just gonna make it worse. And that's what's, I think, is wrong with our society. We aren't, we're starting to address things and it's getting better, but we still have work to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it should just be part of your normal conversation. Like, I broke my leg.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess you can't walk.
diabetic and I need insulin right
I'm
now.
panicking right now.
Yeah.
I actually can't sing. Just give me a minute here. I'm going to talk it through. This is what I need. I felt very
Interesting. Yeah.
very safe on the stage to do that because you've heard my soul already. I'm continuing to show you the deepest, darkest parts, and I had to explain to people this is what's happening. And I thought, in that moment, I was like, if I can't be real right now, and it wasn't a panic of performance. It was just your regular, everyday panic attack it was mortifying, and I've actually never watched it.
So
I'm sure you guys have heard of people throwing guitars on the stage, peeing on the stage, fucking on the stage.
What are you guys gonna do then?
I might have a panic attack on stage. I have serious mental health issues, as many musicians do, and it's been really hard to take music out of musicians' lives in any way that it's been taken out. Sorry. I am so grateful to have people in my life who are musicians and who support me musically, because I think they understand how strongly we feel life. This next song is called Noonday Moon. Sometimes it feels like the moon's in the sky, or it should be because it's the middle of the day and the sun's in the sky, but you feel like you just want to crawl into your bed and die. I'm being very dark right now. But you know what? It's the curse of an artist, so. Anyways, I'm gonna sing this song called Noonday Moon, and it's really about not being this dark. It's about letting your love fall on people when it feels suffocating, and I can be very suffocating and needy when I'm like this. So if you've got people in your life who are artists and have this kind of love that feels suffocating, thank you for letting them love you and for loving them in return. Succulent roots and maladjusted heart traps, sweet bitter tequila and lime, never been good for me. Noonday moon and the road bends, we stand stiff and tall, never shed our damn skin. Hell crushed by fear, the fear of missing out. We stand stiff and tall, never shed our damn skin. Let this love fall. Let this love fall.
We both are very open about our mental health issues, and we draw on that a lot in our music and on stage. We'll talk a lot about it. And I think too, like, she's just not afraid to put herself out there for healing, and I think that's just really empowering. And you know, in these times we need heroes, and I think there's a lot of people out there that stand out, that are just honest, and they're like, I'm suffering. Is that all right with everyone here?
There should be no shame in that. In
None.
fact, Sir.
I've found the more people that I talk about some of my mental health issues with, the more people, their eyes change. It's almost like the conversation was kind of neat at first, and then when you talk about your mental health, it's like, oh, okay. I see. Oh, yeah, that's interesting, Colin. It's not the transformation of the experiencer, it's the transformation of the creator.
Failing is the road, but the heart is home.
So, I would say that as much as the pain and the suffering can be one pool to draw from, I think just the pool, and this is going to sound sort of cheesy, but just the pool of love, you know, kind of in a way. So that's kind of how I see it.
It's the work of your life to clear away enough of the shit that you can be with that thing that calls you. I think. It could be wrong, but in my experience, that's what has made me content and happy after searching for that kind of feeling forever in all over the world. You know, like, this is what I was looking for, and I didn't get it till I came to this, right? And like creating, being here, sitting here, doing this, right?
I love it. Of course, like, you want to get a bigger picture and you're trying to like give people a, I don't know, like an element of wisdom or kind of like some sort of eye-opener moment or something, but based around very intimate moments. But when it hits you like a tornado. And yeah, like for me anyways, I don't know, I can't speak for every person out there, but for me when it hits, it's like, oh my God, like that's where it's gonna go. And you can see this idea and you can just see the whole thing coming out. Like there's a lyric that came out on the Rain's Too Loud, like on Rain's Too Loud for TV, the song, about a lover's nightstand and how intimate it is knowing, you know what their side of the bed looks like. All of a sudden, like that moment's just like you've connected.
How we became friends was we had a little project together called Inez Pearl, and we would sing, you know, it was more like a music support group, I would say. Even though we totally jammed, we came up with new ideas. I feel like it was like we were training. We'd meet up, she'd be like, I have this idea, and I'm like, I have that idea. And then we'd, you know, work on some stuff, and then by the end of it, we're like talking about the deep theory of music and creativity, kind of what we're doing right now. And it's funny to be full circle.
You know, when I encounter artists like Rebecca who are pretty focused on the art of it and not of the marketing of it, you really have to, it's hard for me to look at it that way. And I hope for her, she started to see it, you know, how you could go down that avenue and not sell your soul. And I when I tend to encounter artists like her, I try to see it as, you know, remember why you started doing this in the first place. Because we didn't start, you know, I didn't start out in my bedroom with a guitar thinking, you know, I can't wait to see how marketable I can make this.
Yeah.
You know, we all started in the same place, which was like, this is fucking rad.
I mean, like Becky and I go back to when we were working with Phantom Thieves Day, and that was like, I can't believe it's almost 5-6 years ago now. And that had its place. I think for Becky as well, it had its place because it was a place for her to really work with musicians and people who had very different styles than her. And for me, it had its place where it was a chance for me after like an 9-year hiatus to actually get back into music. I don't always agree with like how we play and write music, and we bicker quite a bit, which is entertaining for a lot of people. But
respond to it.
Yeah. But like when we share music and say like, hey, check this out. Like, this has value.
And it kind of turned into like, where it is now, where like I would bring him a song and he would just bring in these incredible like sonic masterpieces. Like, I just love how he has this ear for tone and richness and like the details of this like incredible sonic landscape. Like it works so well, because without him, I find my music actually quite bland and safe, and I don't hear like Beaches didn't like when I first wrote that one. It was very like bump, and he just heard this sort of like 90s trip hop in there, and I was like, that's crazy cool. Like,
take off in your plane. I let you fly high above me. I watched you from the beaches, the beaches of my life.
The barn's in the country. It's situated on a 12-acre property, and the studio is 4,000 square feet with a bunch of multiple entrances and isolation rooms. So even when everybody was trying to stay 6 feet away from each other, it was really easy to keep working. So
okay, so starting out the grounds, the environment. I mean,
yes.
you approach the place and you're onto an acreage, surrounded by beautiful trees. And a gorge that takes you down to the nearby river, and it's a place when as soon as you get there you realize that you're now fully able to commit to your craft or what you're about to be doing, without any distraction. I mean, it's a very special place in that sense. I've never experienced anything like that. So you walk into this amazingly built structure that feels like a temple for creation, a temple for capturing the essence of your music.
When you're a part of a good team, or you're a part of a good group of people with a good vibe, the day just goes by so fast, and you almost wish you could pause it so it could last forever. That's how I feel. There's a lot of those moments during the day when we would nail something, or Rebecca's beautiful voice would just nail it, or John would play this lick, and we'd almost be like cheering like we just scored a goal at a soccer game or something.
It was just a really cool experience, and we so we recorded the 5 songs. Britt came up as she did some singing, obviously Jono on the guitar. We had Jono was on the bass as well.
It was fun to bring John Flatman in and Marshall Wildman, who was playing drums, and bringing me in, and had Colin Crevero coming in as well from Cassady singing some backup vocals. And it's fun to see it bloom from just these songs that started off in a smaller way into this kind of bigger, more expansive sound.
We ended up getting Christian down from Victoria. Yeah, so he was incredible. He did some more vocals with Brittany, my sister, and myself, and then Jono's guitars. Put some patches in on the drums, and he's an incredible producer. So he was just like the finishing piece to the whole puzzle that just brought the whole project together. And then of course, like, my idea was to have a video for every song, and Johnny came in and he did all the videos. He did such an incredible job. Yeah.
Do you mean all that you say? Will you mean your words still as I'm shivering in my sheets, needing your breath and your peace? What aptitude is this when you're shaking hearts with busy minds? Spread fantasies, illusion with the wanderings of painted desire. Anyway you roll it, shake it and rattle it. Anyway you roll it, shake it and rattle it. It's our own design.
It really just kind of started coming together, you know, and we've worked enough in the past together to know, like, once we hit it, you know, once we hit our stride, it just starts going, and we just started knocking out shots that were just working. It's relaxing, you know, you're just calm, and you know when you kind of get the right one, you know it.
I'm a guy that likes music. My name is Aaron.
You're the one member who plays in both r.mason and Sail Cassady. And these are old friends.
Yeah, with the Sail Cassady crew, we were all, most of us rather, were in a band called Man-Made Lake before that. And so I've been playing with a bunch of those guys for 8 or 9 years now. As far as working with friends, it's just that connection is there. You can't get that. I mean, you can sort of, you know, get a pseudo connection if you're playing with somebody new, and yeah, that's a good riff, that sounds great. But when you're playing with people that you've been playing with for, you know, years and years, there's that bond that just, it's just sort of like instinct at that point. Like with Colin and Nate, who I've been playing with for the entire time through Man-Made Lake, through Sail Cassady, we've been playing together for so long. It's like second nature.
With my art, I always want to hold it. I don't want to let it go once I've made something that I love. I want to cling to it and somehow make it eternal by, you know, recording it or sending it off to the world of streaming and social media. But life isn't eternal, and my art isn't eternal. And it can be really stressful to try to cling on to this thing that's just supposed to fly through our fingers like the wind. There's a ritual in the Buddhist culture that where they make art. It's called a mandala. They make a piece of art out of sand, and then they destroy it as soon as they're finished. It's supposed to represent the fluidity of life, and it's such a light way of looking at art, and I love it. My sister Brittany, although I don't think she destroys her art as soon as she's finished, she does have a softer touch to her music. And it reminds me of how there is this fluidity with music and art, and how it can just fly through our lives and come in and out like a kite. How you can sit back and just watch it flow around us as we grow and live in the world. I love when there's no pressure to become anything, and we can just be.
I drew it when I was in high school. So I can't say it's the same as music. I'm very undirected, so occasionally I'll have like something come over me and I'll be like, I just need to do this one thing, sing this one, like learn this one song, or draw this one drawing, and then once I've done it, I don't do it for a long time. Usually it doesn't go according to plan. And the same as with music, is I'll for myself anyways, I'll get a song in my head, or I'll, you know, have a line in my head and I just need to write it down, or I need to play it, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
if we want to truly like progress and we want to have music that's accessible to the masses, I mean, yeah, pop music is obviously the accessible form, but we need more than Ed Sheeran saying I'm in love with your body, right?
Singing for, like, are you singing to appease them, or are you singing to get yourself through something? As it turns out, I actually believe that if you sing for yourself and the people who connect with you and relate to you, they're gonna find some sort of solace or connection in that. And I think that's where the beauty is, rather than trying to be a certain thing. In the middle of doing this film, I had some tough days, and it's been years since panic attacks held me down the way they did this fall. When this happens, it feels like I've missed the boat on some river, and I never really know where the boat's going, but I know I'm supposed to be on it. And then I start drowning under the weight of the water and the moods that debilitate me. I'm tortured by these times, and to the pleasure of my artistic self, I'm often fascinated. When this disappointing side of my personality strikes, I lean on my belief and curiosity for the beautiful things in life. The things that would make me smile or feel light, warmth, connection, freedom. And then I start breaking through the fog, and I write, and I sing, and I play, and my God, if anyone can make me laugh, you have my heart forever. My words and my music is just me trying to say something, trying to connect on the deepest part of me with you that I can get my hands on. And there's pain, and there's joy, and there's beauty, and my God, there's so much fear, and I feel it fiercely every day. I love looking for others who have the same person in them. I love hearing their stories, and I love telling them mine. This is the music.
I heard someone one time talk about like making your masterpiece in life and like what it means to like really make something, and what the goal of like creativity is. That's why lyrics are written in the way that they're written, in this ambiguous, like sort of like metaphorical way, because it's more than we can do with just this language, right? Writers get really close to that, but they too have to employ all these different things, like all these like character devices and like all of that kind of stuff in order to communicate what we're trying to say. Being present with like creating is like, that is your compass through life, right?
I think the point of art, and I think the point of music, is to really discover who you are and what your meat body wants and what it feels. And you know, I'm a firm believer that we're all kind of one entity with little hand puppets of meat bodies. And I think that sometimes we're probably just one entity lonely in the universe, just having a little puppet show on its own. So the point I'm making here is, to me, it's just getting to know ourselves and getting to know consciousness, getting to know love, getting to know the entire sphere. And I think that that's one way to break open that shell.
If I can give back that same sentiment that I felt as a kid to anybody, whether it's, you know, doesn't matter who it is, if I can give that just to one single person, give that same sentiment back that I felt as a kid, misguided, lost, music was everything. If I can give that sort of feeling back to somebody, that's great for me. And it's just sort of like the way that I'm going to leave my mark on the world.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just being able to separate yourself from everything. It's the way that I can go sit down and just disconnect from everything and really apply what I've got in my head and just be very thoughtful about something. To put yourself in a place where you're the happiest, or you're the most content, or you ask yourself the most questions, or a memory of you that's how you existed.
The two kind of main reasons I do it, or I don't know, I can't speak for other people, is to either remember that I'm alive or to forget that I'm alive. Sometimes you just need to not think about things and just get lost in something that's totally separate from whatever's going on in your life, and music can be a big escape in that way. And then sometimes you maybe are like feeling a bit disconnected from things, and music can make you feel more connected to to your life or to other people. Sometimes you just want to sing or play music. It doesn't have to have a reason sometimes, I guess.
I personally think that art and music have huge potential to heal the artist in the process of the songwriting, and then the cultivation of an idea, and then the actual release of that energy, that vibration. You know, I've said this before, it's like when the music goes out, there's so much pressure on releasing music, but when the music or the art goes out into the world, it's like a seed. It gets planted into so many different types of soil. Some soil is like fertile soil, other soil may not be so fertile, but what happens once it's out there and once it's planted, it shouldn't be weighing so heavily on the minds of the artists. That's no longer their responsibility.
Yeah.
The purpose of making art is to almost be like a gardener. You know, anybody who's watching, I just like to encourage people to seek out and just become aware of people that are making music and art in your city, wherever you are, across Canada, across the world.
I mean, music is as old as a person being able to take a stick and a rock and make rhythm, right? And chant and use their body to produce sound. You know, and it's just the joy too. It's not just the necessity, the lifeline, but it's also like pure joy for me.
You could negate it and say, well, there's no point, but you can say that about anything. You really can. We are spinning around on a ball of dirt, hurtling through nothingness. What's the point? There isn't a point, but the point is you're here, and as long as you feel something, shouldn't that be the point?
I want sun in my eyes, burn my skin, change my name, where I've been. I want air in my lungs. I want to die. Your loveliness.
I can't believe after years of suffering alone that the landscape of our society has changed so much that we can finally openly talk about how to turn pain into beauty. I have been so overwhelmed by the support of everyone in this film. There are so many others. They know who they are, I hope. This is what we do. We eat, we breathe, we sleep, we love, we make art. This is who we are.
I think the better question is, why don't we? Like, why do we ever spend time not? This is the thing that connects us. This is the thing that we've done for ages and ages and ages. Like, this is like art, communication, music. We have put these at the center of all of our societies, in every society, for as long as we can tell. This has been it, right? We keep these things, we hold them, we sit in them, we bask, we take sound baths, you know? People come to the water just to be here for a minute, just to be in silence, just to hear the music of nature, and everything is in that. There couldn't be anything more significant than being called to want to do that.
How do you feel after being all done?
Well, I feel relieved, John.
Yeah?
I feel relieved.
Yeah, a lot of pressure when you're recording an EP, eh?
Well, thankfully, I didn't have to do anything this trip. I just had to sit by and listen. But yeah, no, it's good. Feels
The
good, man.
best. A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Paid off, eh?
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.